Hello, I'm Shawna Karish, and I'm here with some Ask Shawna answers. If you have questions, or these are questions that are sent into my website at askshawna.com, and we're going to address one from Ann today. And Ann writes, working with an off-track thoroughbred who head shakes when any pressure is applied. We are constantly working on desensitizing and figure this is just a nervous habit. Is there any other way I can help him overcome this? Yes, and it sounds like you are on the right track. I'm not sure what you are, as you're working to desensitize him, if you're doing it, if you're utilizing the positive reinforcement or not, but it is certainly something you can work from. There could be a lot of factors here involved, so I don't know, like, does he respond like this when he has pressure just from a halter? When you're teaching him to walk or lead or back up or anything with the halter, that's just something to consider. So find out about that. Because if not, you can teach him to accept the pressure from a halter first, even though it might be good now, but as you ask him, you pull back on the halter, and as he comes back without shaking, build up the reinforcement history by using the clicker and reinforcement, by giving him food or primary reinforcement, something that he values, as he makes a correct decision about accepting that pressure. So I would start with that. Even though he may already be good with the halter, you're building up a reinforcement history or association with this behavior and putting something that your horse values into the equation, not just something that we perceive as value. You have we're using two types of reinforcers here too when we apply pressure. We have one way to reinforce them is to remove the pressure, and that is pretty much what they're working for. We take the pressure out of the equation. And just so you understand that, that's actually called negative reinforcement. People often think that negative reinforcement means punishment. It doesn't mean punishment. Negative reinforcement is like a negative number. It's a number that is taken out of the equation. So the reinforcer in there is the pressure is removed, and that's what they're working for. Positive reinforcement doesn't mean good. It means something is added. It is a positive number added to the equation, which is what they're working for. So by utilizing the removal of the pressure, it's a great tool. I use it all the time. So that's one way you can reinforce them, but you can also put something that they really strongly desire, which is a positive reinforcement. And we use food because it's a primary reinforcement. Again, it's one of the things they need to survive. So its value as a motivator is unrivaled by anything we currently have in the training system. So by keeping aware that you have two elements there that you can use. So start with something that maybe you already are having success at, and then I would go back to, or also in cahoots, working with the under saddle. And as you apply a little bit of pressure, just the littlest bit, and you may need to start just at the walk. That might be a place where there's less resistance, less head shaking. I don't really know, but if you can teach him to kind of accept the pressure at the walk first and click and reinforce, and if he is carrying on, try to keep your hands consistent so that you are not pulling on him, but instead he has to soften or stop shaking in order to have the pressure go away. But on top of that, as soon as he softens and relents and stops shaking his head, draw attention to it. I would click and reinforce. And I ride under saddle. I have a clicker I attach to my riding stick, and I have treats in a waist pack or in a little pouch or something that I can reinforce him under saddle. So for sure you can do this. I've done this before, and it's also with teaching a lot of green horses. They have a tendency to want to just even pull. It's not very different outside of one's a head shake, but it's that resistance. So teaching through the positive reinforcement, putting something additional into it that they value, you'll get a horse who's much more soft and compliant. But remember, break it down to baby steps, take small steps, and start where you're going to have the most success. You want to think about what you can do to set them up for success. And pretty soon, with your consistency, you're going to find a horse that is not shaking his head, but understands what the pressure is and how to give to it. So I hope that this helps you out, Ann. If you have more questions, please don't hesitate, you or anybody else, please don't hesitate to write to askshawna.com. I love to answer the questions. It's great for me, so I really enjoy it. Anyway, that's it for now, and enjoy getting your horse on target.